Welcome to Uncluttered and Unfiltered, the podcast urging you to let it go and don't look back, with nationally acclaimed professional organizer Christine Stone and self-proclaimed hot damn mess radio and TV personality Eden Kendall.
Welcome to Uncluttered and Unfiltered. We are the podcast for women over 50 with professional organizer Christine Stone and me, Eden Kendall, and we are answering one of your messages today, but we've decided it's worthy of an entire episode.
Yes.
Because it bleeds into every part of our lives.
Yep.
In one way or the other. Even though it came in as an organizing question.
Right.
It really does have such importance on a day-to-day basis for all of us. It's how we're gonna all keep our sanity. It's how we're all gonna keep our peace in our homes.
Yep.
So, Christine, why don't you take it away with a question?
Okay. First, I just found your podcast today and have been binging episodes. Thank you for that.
We appreciate that.
You've sparked my decluttering mission around my house. I actually went through all my drawers and got rid of clothes I can no longer wear or want. I cleaned out 50%, which that just made my day, I have to tell you. I started decluttering during COVID after reading Marie Kondo's book, Tidying Up. Once I returned back to work, I tried to keep at it, but eventually I fell off the wagon. My biggest challenge to organizing is there are 5 adults in my house, my husband, myself, and 3 adult kids in college. Everything has its place and everyone else has put it wherever, then scream that you can't find it later, which I loved this. How do I get everyone to put stuff back where it belongs?
Okay, a couple things. First of all, before you talk about Marie Kondo, I want to compliment you on calling your kids adults because they are in college, and it would be easy to say college kids, but you recognize that you are 5 adults.
Yes, I love that too.
So good for you.
Yeah. Well, I love Marie Kondo, so I'm not bashing Marie Kondo. I just think this is what happens in what I see. People read books, they watch TV shows, they're gonna do it, they've got it, they bought all the stuff, and then it looks good for a few days, and then it becomes a mess again, which I wish I had the secret answer, but it's called life. It's called living in your house. It's called, if you have 3 adult children living with you as well, this is what you have to expect, and that's why I always say not to feel bad about that. That all my clients become repeat clients, and it's not a bad thing. It's called living life, and then I come in and I call it zhuzhing it back up, and then you keep it that way 6 months, a year, 3 months, whatever it is, and it's just part of it. And I think when people don't realize that a book is not going to be that life-changing thing that they think it's going to be, unless they live in a bubble, unless they say, don't touch that, don't sit there, I'll get it, I'll do it, you know what I mean? And who wants to do that all the time?
Now, I did read the Marie Kondo book years ago, and like you say, I mean, she certainly was a life changer for a lot of people, but she's not coming to my house again 6 months later or a year later. I can reread the book and refresh my own passion, and that's certainly something you can do. But if you don't, like Christine just said, remember that sometimes things are gonna start to disintegrate around you, and you kind of have to refresh or even start over.
Right.
Then you've done yourself a disservice.
Which I think she will once they start to leave the home.
Yes.
Because that's what everyone notices. It's chaotic when you have a family living with you because it's not just you. It's not just you and your husband. It's a whole family living in your home. And of course, if you think they're going to always put things back where it's supposed to be, they're not. And that's just something you're going to be disappointed in. You want them to, you hope they will, but that doesn't mean it's going to happen. So all I always tell clients is we'll get the tools that you need to keep the drawers organized, to maybe have a place where they put their laundry, to have systems in place to help them stay organized with you. But as the head of the household, you're going to have to go behind a little bit and do some cleaning up, even if you don't want to, if that's the thing that bothers you. Some people don't care. They're like, I don't care. I would be the one that would care. So you can't constantly complain about it if it's something you care about and no one else does. So that will drive you crazy.
And I'm sure this comes as a surprise to some people who don't either listen regularly to this podcast or feel like they know you, where you would even say, you just kind of have to let it go. I'm sure there was a hope that you would say, well, here's how you're going to fix that.
Well, everyone thinks I have the magic answer to the last question. How do I get everyone to put stuff back where it belongs? And I always say this, 1, 2, 3, I can't, because you can't make people do things that they don't want to do.
Especially adults.
Especially adults. Young kids, you have a chance that you can teach them well when they're young, and teach them when you take something out, you put it back in. When they get to be adults, I just think that if it's something that really you're in control of for yourself, you can't control other people. I'm married to a man, a husband, who is not organized like his wife, and I struggle with that sometimes, where I'll be like, how can he not be like me? How could he not live like me? And then I stop and think, because he's not me. You know what I mean? And sometimes you have to realize it doesn't bother them. And it bothers you so much that you're trying to change them. And they're never, ever going to change. They may fall in line eventually, but it's not going to happen because you bother them, you nag them, you harp on them. It'll never happen. It'll never happen. I don't know why, but people seem to do the opposite when that happens. I don't know if you see that in your own home.
Yes.
You know, the more you harp, the more it doesn't change.
It's like backing someone into a corner. I mean, even if you were to say to your kid, clean your room, no phone, no screen time.
It doesn't work.
It's, maybe it'll get cleaned. Doesn't mean you're going to not have to do the very same thing again in a couple of days. So how does this translate to every area of life? Well, it's simple. You have to recognize that you can't change other people's behaviors.
And you can't control.
You can only control how you react, how you respond.
Yes.
That's a lesson. Do I only react with calm? No. I mean, we're all learning, growing, changing.
Right.
But this is a prime example of you just can't control what other people are going to do. And so you have to make peace with the idea that either you have to tell your husband that something starts a half hour earlier than it does.
Right.
And that's how you're going to get there on time. Or you have to tell, your kids that, when they're really, really little, that the house rule is this because, the internet turns off at this time.
Right.
There's just things you might have to adjust how you do things.
Or I'm going to give one example, the junk drawer. Okay. And the reason why I always give this example is because that's something everyone puts their hands in. If you really want your junk drawer to stay organized, and we put the system in place with drawer organizers, which I did for you, okay? If you really want it to stay that way, once a week, go in there and clean it out a little bit, purge it out a little bit, start throwing out some things that you know that just got shoved in there. It won't take you long. It'll take 5 minutes.
Now, should you do it the way I do, where you hold things up and say, Christine would not approve of this being in the junk drawer?
No.
No, just do it.
Just
be quiet.
do it. And I always say that, and I'm not trying to interfere in anyone's marriage, by the way. I just want you to know, I'm not trying to say be deceitful, but you don't have to ask about every little screw, every little nail that's shoved in the junk drawer. There are some things that you can just throw away without asking every little opinion over.
I mean, if you have to be the one who runs to the hardware store in a pinch, that is a small price to pay.
Right, exactly.
My bad. Oops. Uncluttered and Unfiltered is supported by Hearts for Minds. Mental health doesn't have to be a silent struggle. Hearts for Minds is changing the conversation, breaking stigma, and building bridges to better mental health care. through QPR training and awareness programs, Hearts for Minds is equipping communities with the tools to recognize warning signs and connect people to life-saving support. Whether you're facing a crisis or just need someone who understands, Hearts for Minds is your helping hand. Hearts for F-O-U-R, minds.com, that's heartsforminds.com, and join the movement. Together, we can save lives. I threw it away.
Right.
Tell me exactly what you need.
Right.
I'll be right back.
And I also think, for me at least, it took me till I was a certain age, like later in life, to realize if something matters so much to me, this is my thing, my issue. This isn't anyone else's issue. If I want something to be a certain way, then I will make it a certain way. If they're not on board with it, okay, well, they don't care. They can go to sleep at night and it won't bother them at all, but it'll drive you crazy. So if it drives you crazy, then you figure out how to make it less stressful for you. Also, I know this is rare, but having open communication, whether it's with an adult child, whether it's with your husband, listen, when you leave everything all over the floor, or you don't put stuff in the laundry basket, or you leave clutter all over our bathroom sink that's, that we share mutually, it stresses me out and I get very resentful because I feel like you're not hearing me and you're not listening, that then I have to go back and clean up after you, and it really makes me resent you. No one does that because they're worried how the other person is going to react. But I can tell you this, most of the time, not all the time, most of the time, you get a good response from that because you're not yelling, you're not screaming, you're just telling them how that makes you feel around clutter and things that aren't in order or organized. And they may say back to you, well, it doesn't bother me. And
if it bothers you, you clean it.
Right.
Okay,
right.
I will.
Right. But you have to do it without being resentful. You know what I mean?
So you're not slamming down the shaving cream when you're...
Right. You're
this
not...
goes here. This goes here.
Because I think this is such a good lesson in what you can control and what you can't control. You can't control other people's feelings. You can't control other people's thoughts. You can't control their actions. You can only control what you can control in your own mind, your own body. If everyone was like us or each individual, you'd have a terrible existence because you don't want everyone to be just like you. So I think that's a big concern in my world because everybody wants a simple answer on how to get everyone on board, and you can't control everyone. You can only control yourself. And that's why systems are so important, because I think a lot of people don't have that organized brain at all.
We've established that.
Yeah.
My brain works differently than your brain.
Right. So I can't control your brain. I can only control to help you make it easy when you are putting things back, whether it's in a closet or a bathroom or a kitchen. But that doesn't mean in 6 months you won't say, don't be mad, don't be upset. I think I may need you come over just to give a little refresh now that my son has moved out or whatever. People do this all the time. Once their grown kids move out, then they're like, can you come back over? I want to reclaim my space, you know.
And we haven't talked about that in a while. But that is space that you can reclaim.
Right.
And we'll do an episode in the coming months
to
revisit that.
Right.
But for now, when they're under your roof, you're in a season. You are in a season.
It is
you
a
have grown
season.
kids in the house, and one day you'll be crying because the nest is empty, and then we'll show you why that's awesome.
Right.
We'll remind you about this episode.
Right. And I also think when you try to control every single situation, it makes you stressed out, it makes you sick, it makes you angry, it makes you bitter and resentful because you can't control it and it's just frustrating. So starting today, just what can I control in this? What can I do? And if it makes you happier to have an organized space, then do it. Just do it. And say, really loud in front of your family. Boy, I love this organized drawer or this organized kitchen pantry. It just makes me feel great. But don't expect them to do it because they're not going to do it, especially adult children. Because when my kids come home for a holiday or whatever it is, I know it's not going to change. It's not going to change. After they leave for the weekend, the week, I'm going to have to go in there and do me. I'm going to have to clear everything off and clean everything and make it how I like it, okay? It used to bother me. It doesn't bother me at all anymore. Actually, I like it because it just makes me feel like I can reclaim my space. So,
I love it.
yeah. So do what you can control and let go of what you can't.
And you can apply that to so many aspects. So many aspects. I was thinking along the lines of, for example, my daughter has certain foods that she can't eat. She brings things with her when she goes places so that she can.
Right.
She can't control
Right.
what someone is serving.
Right.
She could probably request, but she's not going to, you can control what you can control.
Right.
And you can decide what it is you're going to do about that to make sure that you can exist happily or peacefully within those confines.
Right. I mean, now, if you have a significant other, a husband, boyfriend, whatever it is, that is a slob, we're not talking about that. And
That's a deeper issue.
It's a deeper issue because that kind of turns into a little respect thing. But someone who's not as clean as you are or likes things a certain way like you do, that's different. Because I feel like I've seen it all in my job. So I think I see different aspects of what you have to look at when you're dealing with relationships. And if you're dating and someone's like that, I call that a red flag, in my opinion, because that does not change. That's
meaning if it's a slob.
Yeah.
But if you're dating and someone has some different...
No, that's different. I mean someone who you walk in and it looks like, a tornado ripped through their place. It's a red flag.
Yeah.
Do you want to live with someone who lives like that? Like, that's because you can't control that. You can't go, okay, unless you clean up this pigsty, I'm not doing this and I'm not doing that, because it'll stay that way and then it'll go back the other way. 100%. Because they're doing it for you, but they don't really want to do it. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So I think, like you said, it's in every aspect of life. You can only do what you can do, whether it's even in friend groups with other women. You can't control how much someone else drinks. You can only control what you drink, and you really don't learn these things till later in life, I think.
Okay, so there you go. That was a perfect example, too. All right, so letting yourself get stressed out over things that other people are doing or not doing in this case.
Right.
You can let it go.
And don't look back.